It's just pick a period of time to do problem solving, work with mindfulness when the worries come up outside of that time. And then when you get to that time, define the problem, list some possible solutions, pros and cons, and then plan your action steps. And then start taking action and see what happens. So let's do a little meditation to kind of work on that, because you can do this as a walking meditation as you're on your daily walk, or you know, at the end of your mindfulness practice, if a lot of worry is there. So sitting upright and closing your eyes as we do some problem solving meditation. Just bring your awareness to the contact points where you're sitting, so the feet on the floor, the contact with the chair or the bed, the weight of the body. Notice if your mind is still engaging in thinking, and just come back to the physical sensations. And then from this grounded place, just pick one worry. Doesn't have to be the biggest worry in your life, but one worry that you'd like to do a little bit of problem solving on. And then define that worry. So think it through to yourself, describe it. You could picture it, you know, where are you when that worry comes up? Who does it involve? What does it involve? What actions? What things in the world? So you could picture that if you work well with imagery, or you can just describe it to yourself. And what are the issues here? What are the risks? Why is it triggering worry for you? And work with mindfulness. If this does trigger anxiety, just notice that, breathe into those sensations, and then come back to the thinking process. So breathe into any butterflies in the tummy or tension in the chest or anywhere in the body, and then come back to the thinking. And then what are 1 to 3 possible solutions? What are practical actions you can take in the world? So worry often gets stuck on the first part, so just on the problem, looping round and round, and then maybe judging ourselves as well, or fearing that we can't handle it, overwhelm, or it might loop onto other things. So notice if that starts to happen, and then come back to the actions. What is a potential solution? And you could think through what are the pros and cons of that solution, or you could just, if you have a strong sense that that's a good option, you can move into action steps. So what needs to be done? What could you do today to progress on that worry? If it's finances, could you do some planning? If it's family, could you actually get some support? It shouldn't sit with just you, the worry of the family. It should be with everyone. So maybe, do you need some support with it? Do you need to just connect and talk to a family member? Or do you need to plan out how you would support that family member? If it's performance, can you plan the thing you're going to perform, you know, whether it's work performance or your hobby, sports, something like that. Just thinking through the steps. So whatever it is, you're planning, you're going through the action steps, and it should lead to practical things that you could do today. And you could then go through again and think about other solutions. So we can get quite complex with this, and actually, you know, a lot of, like, for example, some of the famous scientists that had breakthroughs were known to do this on walks. They would go through, define a problem, go through the different variables, plan actions, and do this kind of process. You know, Einstein, for example, and other people. So it could be worth doing this from time to time. So hopefully you've got at least one practical action you can take today. So now just coming back to your breathing and taking a few deep breaths, and gently opening your eyes and then noting down anything. And again, and the key thing is that it should lead to practical action. So we don't want to just loop around the problem. We don't want to start self-attacking, self-criticism. If any of that comes up, use your mindfulness skills to notice and come back, or notice a name and come back. Having some space outside, some movement, many of the great breakthroughs, as I hinted in that practice, actually a lot of famous scientists did this sort of practice. They'd go on a daily walk, they'd go through the problem they're trying to solve, and they'd work it through in a similar way to this, and they'd go kind of deeper and deeper into it. And I think it's a great method for worries. So there's also advantages to getting it out of your head. So I think the two-part process of thinking it through, often through moving and walking, and then with a notepad, actually, what have you come up with, and get it out on paper so it's not held in our head. And so this would be the challenge today, is to think about, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at some point, maybe on a walk, actually, you've got the benefit of some movement, some exercise, and to just run through this process. So take one or a number of your worries, do the problem solving methodology, list the possible solution, pros and cons, choose one, plan it out, what you would do, write it all down, start taking actions. Work with mindfulness with any worry, excessive worry or anxiety or difficult emotions that come up, or the critic can often get involved with worry. We start with worry and then the critic goes, oh, you're doing terrible, you can't do this. So just notice that, go, okay, here's the critic, and then back to problem solving. And the other important part is, we often need support. Often excess worry shows that perhaps we're holding a little bit too much responsibility for an area of life, and we might need some support with that. So part of the solutions might be to identify people to help and support with that. So that could be something. And then we need to think about how we negotiate, how we use assertiveness to express our needs, and ask for, is there some way of meeting in the middle to meet them.